mood is a big catch-all term, and if we look at mood and say, well, what do we mean by mood? I often ask this question, and patients or their partners will say to me, oh, he or she has become very short-tempered, they become snappy. And I guess that's a part of mood, but really I guess what we're driving at is there any depression? Is there any anxiety? Or is there any apathy? And those terms are a little bit different, but they're very closely related, and often patients may have more than one of them. So with depression, what we're talking about is, if you like, that low mood. And generally the psychiatrist will say, look, I'm not treating anyone with depression unless they've had at least 2 weeks worth before I go and get tablets out for this person. So that sort of flatness, the inability to enjoy life, feeling hopeless, is what we might think of as depression. Anxiety, if you like, is worrying. So generalized worriness. And people, if you like, worrying about things out of context. It's perfectly reasonable to worry about certain things. You know, I have a Parkinson's thing, I may need to have, extra help when I get older. That's a generalized, reasonable worry. But if you're worrying about everything and blowing it out of context and proportion, then that's, if you like, more on the anxiety spectrum. And then apathy, if you like, is this inability to get up and go as got up and gone. So effectively what you're saying is, I just don't want to be doing anything. And again, this is a part of a mood disorder. And as I mentioned, the bottom line is that we often see these three things going together. They're often confounded by things like poor sleep or sometimes physical symptoms, for example. And so they need to be addressed, and they need to be addressed aggressively. And how do we do the management? Well, the management is both non-pharmacological. Often we can deal with a lot of these problems through counselling and getting help in and discussing them. And then obviously pharmacological. So we have drugs that can treat things like anxiety and depression relatively well, and often will improve some of the other associated features like sleep disorders. So I think it's very important for people to realize that mood disturbances are actually a part of all of these brain diseases. We see it in Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Lewy body dementia, frontotemporal dementia. All will have high rates, maybe as high as 40–60% of patients who will be affected. And it's something that we need to embrace as part of the disease, and get people having a conversation with their specialists so that they don't suffer with those symptoms.